Okay, will London ever host the Super Bowl? This is a very interesting question. I have covered this topic before, but a lot has actually changed since I last did a video on this precise topic in 2018. A lot has happened. There's been a stadium redevelopment in London, White Hart Lane, the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Still hasn't got naming rights, by the way, but the Spurs owners, they have signed an agreement with the NFL to get 2 of the International Series games per season in their stadium. It does have the retractable pitch, so it's really modern and up to date. You've still got Wembley. Twickenham's hosted games as well, and in theory, the Emirates and the former Olympic Stadium where West Ham play can also host games as well. So you've got 5 stadiums in London. So it's not as if the NFL is going to be short of facilities to use. And the rumour is, in 2026, they could come to London to use the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that seats over 64,000. Very similar in capacity to the Emirates. It's one of the biggest stadiums in the country. I think it's the 3rd or 4th biggest stadium in the country for capacity. So you can get a good crowd in there. And it is also designed not only for association football or soccer to North Americans, but NFL, American football, because of that retractable pitch. But let's go back to 2007 when the London series, as it was then known, started. Started as a one-off, so successful the NFL kept coming back. It's now grown to cover Munich and Mexico City, so it's got the NFL has got its international series on 2 continents and 3 cities. So it's turned out to be a very, very successful money-making machine for the NFL. We also saw back in 2018 the attempt to purchase Wembley Stadium by Shahid Khan, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the NFL, in their roadmap, initially actually had plans on the table to potentially have a team in London by now. In fact, had it gone to plan and the financial crash not actually happened in 2007 to 2010, we would have a team in London by now according to the NFL's planning. Now that hasn't obviously taken place, and the world economy has gone through some recessions and ups and downs, and things have actually changed. Of course, we've also had COVID as well. And the players, well, obviously they don't mind the international series games. They're not overly enamoured when they have to prepare for them. So there is that. So yes, there was an attempt to purchase Wembley way back when. This is when the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is still being rebuilt. Now, the Spurs rebuilt stadium, the former White Hart Lane, opened in 2019. Now, Daniel Levy, the chairman of Tottenham Hotspur, they've now signed an agreement with the NFL where they get 2 of the International Series games per season. So Wembley has lost some games, Spurs has gained some games, but 3 games are still played in London. Of course, there's 1 in Munich. So there's a long-term contract with the NFL using that stadium. Another interesting thing is the amount of American money, not only in English Premier League and Football League football, so soccer to North Americans, but also in just sport in general through sponsorship, partial ownership. We're talking every professional sport in this country has some American money in the sport. And so there is that link with our professional sports and North America. Now, 2 of the Premier League owners, as I say, own American football teams in the NFL. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are owned by the Glazers, very unpopular owners of Manchester United, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are owned by the Khan family, the owners of Fulham Football Club. And there's a bit of controversy about them as well. So that's 2 of the teams from Florida that are actually owned by Premier League owners. Now, Manchester United, potential sale, and the Khan family, there's some question marks over their ownership at Fulham as well, and their attempts to purchase Wembley back in 2018, which I would have thought would have been a conflict of interest, but there we go. So there's already that link with sports team owners and investment. We also see other major league owners as well, with Todd Bowley at Chelsea, recently taken over Chelsea. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. Ryan Reynolds is interested to buy the Ottawa Senators in the NHL. And then we have the Fenway Sports Group, who've just bought the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Boston Red Sox as well. So there's overseas major league sports owners from the US, as I say, already purchasing and having massive stakes in our sports teams. We also know that the next 2 Super Bowls will be taking place. The next one's in Vegas in 2024, and the following one in 2025 is in New Orleans. 2026 has not been decided yet. Now, the rumour mill has it, and this is through American correspondence, so I'm going by what I've read online with a lot of North American sports journalists. They are saying the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is possibly on the shortlist by the NFL, but that's not the only stadium in London. Now, they're one of 3 stadiums to have hosted the International Series games since 2007. Wembley Stadium, they've been going there since 2007. And when Wembley Stadium wasn't available due to the White Hart Lane Stadium rebuild, which is now the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Twickenham was also used for a brief period. Now, the issue with having a Super Bowl at Twickenham is the Rugby Union Six Nations, which then goes, well, if Twickenham's off the list, you've also got the London Olympic Stadium where West Ham play games. Major League Baseball has also used that facility. So, and it's a multi-purpose sporting facility. I think the Rugby Union World Cup took games there, and there were plans at one point to have the Rugby League World Cup games there, which then moved to the Emirates. And then you've got the Emirates, another big stadium with good transport links. Now, all these stadiums in London have fantastic transport links, not only with the underground, the mainline rail, but also airports. Ironically, international airports, so you can get overseas fans in, especially fans and sponsors from America, and of course, good local transport links for the local population because you want to have that local fan base coming in. One thing that may be a negative is market saturation. Now, since the London series has been here in 2007, a friend of mine used to regularly go to games pre-COVID until around 2017, 2018. Now, my friend Ollie, he's a corporate accountant, so he's on a really good salary, far more than what I'm earning a year. I think his tax bill is what I earn in a salary in a year. He's quite well paid for a rather large supermarket chain in this country, one of the biggest companies in this country, as one of their corporate accountants. And he says he cannot justify the ticket spend anymore. It's getting too expensive for him as a fan just to go to 3 or 4 games a year. So, and we know how expensive Super Bowl tickets can be. They're more than regular and postseason games. So if a hardcore American football fan who's been going pretty regularly since 2007, I don't think he missed a game until I think 2016, 2017, is now saying it's getting too expensive for me to watch games. That says that the ticketing price may have to be adjusted for an overseas market. You want to sell out. We've seen other major leagues get criticised as well with their ticketing policy. Obviously, Major League Baseball with its London series back in 2019, the games it took to the former Olympic Stadium. Their ticketing policy was also criticised post the event. And so that could be an issue. And also market saturation. Are fans still as interested as what they were when it first came in 2007? Has it now plateaued? Is that interest starting to die off? Or is the economics still viable for the NFL to continue to with its long-term investment in the international series in London? And then you have to look at the current economics, the cost of living crisis. That's starting to really hurt professional sport. Fans are starting to spend less money in going to games, attendances, buying merchandise, TV subscriptions. So there's a few things to weigh up. Of course, London's a very expensive city as well. But there are 5 stadiums, 5 or 6 stadiums in London that could potentially host a Super Bowl. The rumour mill has it, 2026, it's going to be the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They already have a long-term agreement with the NFL to continue to host games. Wembley and the FA also have an agreement with the NFL to continue to host games. So the relationship between the NFL and stadium owners in London is really good. They also have had a working relationship with the RFU. Now, Rugby Union in this country, some money issues there. Could they be enticed to also take some more games or be involved with the Super Bowl to fill their pockets and cover some of their financial woes? It could be an interesting one. As I say, good relationships with stadium owners and sporting organisations in this country. But we shall wait and see what happens when the NFL decides to announce the next 3 Super Bowl locations, which will be soon. It'll be very, very interesting if London 2026 or onwards will be on that list. But there are some possibilities it may not. To get a Super Bowl is exceptionally lucrative. But I think the NFL is now aware, with the other major leagues starting to also grow their international series portfolio. They want to get into these markets before their rival leagues do, for that TV revenue, sponsorship, income, and growing fan base, to make sure they are the ones who get the fans before the other major leagues do. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.